Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dice Tower, where we're going to be taking a look at Alice Through the Looking Glass. That is its English title, but if you're looking this up online, you're going to find it in its French title, which I'm not going to embarrass myself and try to pronounce. So check out the description below and the title in order to see what that is, but I'm going to be calling it Alice Through the Looking Glass. This is going to be a flip and right style game where you are playing as Alice and you're wandering through, going through the looking glass, flip and right, where you're going back and forth on 2 sheets of paper, trying to polyomino your way through and to the highest score. Let's check out how it plays, then I'll come back and let you know what I think of the game and why I think it sets itself apart. Alice is a flip and right style game that can be played either every man for himself or team-based. We're going to take a look at every man for himself first. If you have the active token here, or the Alice token, then you are the active player, and you're going to choose one of these piles to draw a card from. On the other side of that card is going to have a 4 squared shape that then everyone will fill in on their grid. So in this case, this shape here, I would start from a square that already has an X in it. So in this case, perhaps I would do it right here in this one. Now, any of these icons that you cross off, you're going to fill in on the left side of your sheet here. In this case, I got an Eat Me token, so I would complete that circle. Now, Eat Me and Drink Me tokens, as you have those, allow you to increase the size of this shape by 1, or I guess add or subtract to a size 3 or to a size 5. So if I used it later on a subsequent round, for example, I could eat that and just make it a 3. Perhaps doing that, which brings me to my second symbol, which is a flamingo, so I would just fill that in. If you ever complete in one of the quadrants all of the terraces, which are the white inner part of that quadrant, you would also mark that off. And similarly, if you get a rose, you're going to mark off a rose. Now, if you ever cross off one of these 4 looking glasses, you will finish that turn, finish the shape, and get any bonuses that you had gotten of the symbols, and then flip over and mark off the corresponding looking glass on the other side. Now that is going to be your starting point once again to branch out from. On this side, you're going to be collecting hedgehogs, which are here. And you're going to be collecting teapots, which, similar to the Eat Me and Drink Me tokens, you will cross off in order to purchase these cards, which are going to have points on them or ongoing or instant abilities. So when you claim those, again, you would just mark off the teapots, the number that you spent, and collect those points. After you flip the card, complete the shape, then you will pass the Alice token to the next player, who will then do the same thing. After 30 of these cards are drawn, there are only 30, then we go into scoring. This is where it really gets funky. You're going to fold your sheet over like this to have all of your scoring together. The Eat Me and Drink Me tokens are only in game, so there's nothing there. Your teapots are going to score points according to how many of them you have. The flamingos and the hedgehogs are going to score based on the highest completed pair. So in this case, it would still only be 5. And then you're going to score points based on how many terraces you had completed. Finally, your roses are going to be a multiplier of the 2 sides. Add up all those different scores, and the highest score wins. Now let's take a look at the team-based mode and how that differs. Each team member is going to receive their own sheet. One of them gets the A and one of them gets the B. Whichever team has the Alice token is the one that is choosing the card. And we'll get to how that Alice token is going to pass in just a minute. It is a little bit different. You are also going to need key cards and then these soldier tokens as well. Let's take a look at the A player first. It's going to be very similar and played out the same way. You have the Alice token, so you pick one of the piles and show the shape and then resolve that shape. You have Eat Me tokens and Drink Me tokens on both sides, and then you're also going to have these flower tokens. When you get one of those, you are just going to cross off the flower token, the same flower token on your sheet. That's going to be it for this side. Well, of course, other than your terraces. So if you, again, complete a whole terrace, you would mark off that. When you go through the looking glass and you flip over to the other side, it is the same. Once again, we have the flower tokens and the Eat Me, Drink Me. You also have this locked area down in the lower right. You can only go through that if your team has collected a key card, which we'll get to in a second. And once you do that, you can actually take and cross off the crown in order to turn that key token into a crown. And that's going to increase scoring on that as well. The other thing you're going to have are these guards. If you cross off a guard, then you're going to mark off a guard on the sheet. If you ever get your second or complete a pair of guards, then your team does have to take one of these guards, the red guards, and that's going to be negative 10 points at the end of the game. Let's switch over to the B player, though, because you do have a little defense against that. On the starting side, they're going to have the bow tokens, and the bows, you are just going to mark off the lowest bow, and you will take the Alice token, which means you will be the team that gets to select the card until someone takes it away from you. So that is the only way that that Alice token is going to change. Similar to the, or not similar, exactly like the Every Man for Himself one, if you get the flamingo, you're going to mark that off. And then once you go through the looking glass, you'll switch it, flip it over, and you will have your hedgehogs, and you also have your teacups, similar to the Every Man for Himself. And on this side, you're going to have these guard tokens, just like with the soldiers over here. If you mark one of those off, you're fine. When you get your second one, though, you get a cool power where you can take one of your soldiers here and you can pass it to another team. So there is a way to get rid of those and pass them around the table. Once, again, we go through all 30 cards here, you'll have 30 turns, then we go into scoring. At that point, both players of the team, or both team members, are going to turn their cards over to score. The A player is going to score their flowers based on how many they have completed of each kind, and then they're going to score if they have the crown card as well. The B player is going to score their Alice points, so just the highest number that they have crossed off, they will get those points. And then again, just like in the Every Man for Himself, however many of the flamingo and hedgehog pairs they have will score them points. Also on their sheet, they will mark off for any of those teacup cards that had been purchased as well. Now, the terraces are going to score a little bit differently in this one because they require both team members to have completed them. If both team members have one of the terraces completed, then they receive a doubler for the corresponding action. So in this case, if they both have that orange done, it is a doubler for the key or the crown card. After that, both team members are going to add up their scores and then add those two scores together, and the team with the highest score wins. That's going to be it for Alice. Let's go back up top. As you saw in the overview there, this has some really neat components to it. Very few components. I mean, it comes with these 5 chunky wooden bits. Do they need to be chunky wooden bits? No, I don't think so. But man, does it feel good. I really enjoy it. I like that this is going to be your first player token and you're passing it around the table or back and forth if you're playing in teams. And it didn't have to be wood. It didn't have to be full color screen printed like it is. I'm so glad it is, though. I just think it really kind of brings a neat experience. And also then the box having that die cut with that holographic effect. It's just a very pleasing experience from the moment you open it up. And I think kudos to that because it's a very simple game and it is a little over the top, but appreciatingly so. I think what sets this game apart is the flipping of the sheet as you're playing through. I'm so glad that this works well, but also that it lines up when you get to that final scoring and you're folding it over. This could have been a real miss if these were printed a little off and didn't quite line up, but no, it works really, really well, and I'm glad for that. I think it also leads to some really strategic moments where you have to know when you want to go through that looking glass. I'm glad that you're not just plotting out one path forward, but you're starting in the center and you're kind of working on multiple directions at one point, or at the same point, which leads to you really saying, all right, now I'm ready to go through the looking glass. That's going to also coordinate with some of the goals that you're trying to do. For example, if you want to go for that terrace, in order to get that terrace bonus, you have to go through the looking glass. But that means you have to make it to another looking glass on the other side in order to be able to come back. So you're plotting out your path as best as you can, but still very subjective to what cards come up. And that makes this first player token really, really important. So I think that is the hook of the game, and it really works for me. I enjoy it. Now, I think that we do have to kind of look at the both ways you can play this, Every Man for Himself versus the team mode. I have a strong preference towards the Every Man for Himself, or the fully competitive version of this. I think the team, I wouldn't mind playing, but it leaves a little lacking. I think the rules are not as clear and there's some timing issues. So for example, if I get one of these on my team's turn, but then my teammate is also allowing me to give it away. Can I give away the one I just got? Or does it have to be a subsequent turn? That's not very clear in the rule book, so you kind of have to decide as a group to play. And that's just one of a couple different timing issues. I also don't find it as interesting that Alice is only passing back and forth based on those bows. I like the idea and the concept. I just don't think it really works as well as I would want it to. I played one game where this only switched hands one time, and that was near the end of the game. So one team had a very huge advantage in that, and they were always picking the card. So I just don't think that it feels as balanced, I guess, as in the competitive, or as tense, I guess, as the competitive version or mode of play. I do, though, think that it requires a lot of coordination and cooperation, communication in the team-based mode, which is interesting. It just doesn't feel as good playing. Now, that being said, I played with a couple different groups, and every group that I taught the team-based mode first to preferred that. So that might just be, that might play into it a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it is, depending on what your first introduction to this is. But across the board, we all found it very unique with that flipping and very well put together. So for me, I'm going to come down at 8 on this. I think it does a lot of things really uniquely, and it's very refreshing in this flip and right category, but it also doesn't completely blow me away. I would want for that score to go higher up into a seal of excellence. I would want that team-based mode to be a little bit stronger, to be a little bit clearer in the rules and those timing issues, and also a little bit in the production as well, where the flowers are not on both sides of the sheet, so you have to turn over even when you're not going through the looking glass. But again, minor quibbles with the team-based mode. I think that this, from the first time I played it, I was like, this is neat. This is really refreshing. This is engaging. And I get excited to show people this game. So for me, it's an 8. That's going to be a seal of approval for Alice Through the Looking Glass. If you had a chance to play it, let me know in the comments down below. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for joining me here at the Dice Tower. I'll see you through the looking glass.
Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, you would love to game with us at one of our conventions. Check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Bassel.